would you be prepared to do if you had one more chance? Everything all right here?
Yeah.
We got a call about a disturbance.
I just asked him to separate, and he wasn't hearing me.
He didn't threaten her, he didn't touch her, and Mrs. Whitman is not pressing any charges, so...
Are you sure? Is everything okay?
No.
What happened?
I told you it was dangerous! Why didn't you stop him?
So, Vinessa, this series, Plan B, is the second series. You play a woman who... She's a cop, but she sees an injustice go down, and she really has to make it right. That's her moral center, her empathy center, and all of that. And there seems to be no way to make it right. And then she hears a guy on the ground who's bleeding and injured. She takes his phone and listens, and she hears a way she can save the situation. Wow. If it were only that easy, right?
Right?
Yes, it's a very cool concept. Now, she's a bit of a vulnerable character because of this burden that she's carrying. A lot of challenges in her own life. You don't really play vulnerable women very often. So what was it like? Did you have to change anything or switch your head differently?
No, I think the biggest thing that was the biggest challenge was like the physical prep for the cop stuff and yeah, just training for that. And, I changed so much of my mannerisms and my body language and even my voice to really bring this this authoritative cop to light. But in terms of like vulnerability, like, I don't know. I feel like most of I think every character is vulnerable in some way. There are just different ways to mask it. But we're all pretty vulnerable, I think.
I'm intrigued by what you say about having to train like your whole physicality to be different as a cop. What's that? Is that to look more authoritative or always ready to move? Tell me.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing was we did some gun training with a wonderful consult because I wanted to, and Jean-Francois, the director and creator and writer, wanted to make sure that, we were really being authentic. So we did a lot of cop proper training. I also, changed my diet and worked out, and, there's a way that you need to walk, stand, present yourself in a dangerous situation. And, being a regular pedestrian is just not going to cut it when you're walking into, potential violent circumstance.
That's interesting. I had never thought of that, but of course they do, because they've got to be able to move quickly and establish themselves.
Establish themselves and also, be keenly aware of so many things that, say you or I wouldn't necessarily be aware of, like in walking to a new space. I mean, one of the things that the cop that I talked to spoke about was, right when she enters into a space, she's automatically clocking where the exit signs are. She's looking for any kind of camera. She's looking for weapons. She's looking for anything dangerous right off the top. And you have to be mindful of like the space that you're stepping into. So there's an immediate awareness of your space and the people that are around you right from the start.
Does that hang on with you since you finished shooting?
No.
Oh, okay.
Sadly,
Wipe it right off.
Sadly, I have no awareness of my space and lack of direction. I still need my GPS just to figure out how to get down the street. But yeah.
So funny. So, all right. So Plan B is the name of a company that reorganizes people's lives. We all want a plan B sometimes. And with Mia, she's got to sort out her family relationships. Her parents are horrified by what she does for a living. Her sister won't listen to her regarding her problems that she could help her fix. And she's got this ex. So, will stepping back in time be able to help her on a personal level, or will it just be for the professional situation.
You know, the funny thing about time travel, when, you know, I think that's what this show really begs that question for the viewer to ask themselves is, you know, if you did have the chance to go back in time and change something in your life, would you? And, you know, I always think about that when I ask myself that question. I think, would I actually do it? And the reality is, no matter how many times you go back, or for whatever reason you may be going back, because you're so focused on changing that one thing, it's inevitable that you're going to have something else fall to the wayside, or a new challenge come up, or something that you weren't thinking about before, because we can't be everywhere at all times. So I think, you know, with this part of the show, this time travel aspect, Mia realizes that she really can't change anyone. She can try to change certain circumstances, but the reality is the only person that she can change is herself.
Yes, how true.
Yeah. And
How
that's, I
true.
think, true for everyone, really. You know, you can only do so much um, before it's time to start to look inward and see what you can change. Yeah.
Very good. Yes, good answer. Now, Mia witnesses a really horrific domestic. Um, and I'm sure that it made you think about what police go through on a day-to-day basis. And, you know, did you find out what keeps them okay?
I asked that question when I was talking with the cop in the beginning of my prep, and it's something personally I wouldn't be able to do as a profession, just because there's so many circumstances and so many stories and so many atrocities and horrific things that happen out there that you and I just aren't privy to. I'm not even sure how they're able to move past it and move on with their lives if they're seeing these kinds of things every day. Personally, me, that would break me. And you see a little bit of that in Mia, you know, that it's starting to wear on her, and this idea that, you know, you can go out and save people or protect people and get the bad guy and make the world a better place. The realities of that, I think, start to wear on her, and she realizes
Yeah.
she can't.
And the one thing we all need is hope for a better future, right? So
Yeah.
that's tough. That's very, very tough. Now, Mia also commits a bad act, and she knows it, and it's willful, but it's for the common good. Um, so is it okay to step over the line?
You know, this bad act that she does, as you said, is inevitably for the common good. It's for the greater good of the situation in her eyes.
There's the phrase. Yeah, you're right.
The reality is, like I said before, we cannot change anyone else. So no matter how extreme she goes, no matter how extreme she decides to take this situation into her own hands and sort of play God, if you will, she cannot change the people that she is trying to deal with. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that she should have did what she did. But on the other hand, if she didn't do that, what would be the outcome? You know, was it meant to be?
Yeah, it's a moral quandary, and that's one
Hmm.
of the things I like so much about the show. It really challenges you. Sitting at
Yeah.
home watching, it really challenges you, and it's a kind of a fantasy, sort of a like, "Yeah, I could do this," and like,
Yeah.
"No." But, congratulations. I really, really like the series, and I can't wait to
Thank
see the
you.
rest of the episodes. Thank you,
Thank you so
Vanessa.
much. Thank
So
you. It's so
nice to
nice to
see
see you.
you.
Welcome to Plan B Agency. Using the keypad, select your desired destination. State the reason for your trip.
To stop a triple murder.
The hardest thing is not knowing what happened to me.
I would like to think that I meant something to you. I should have been there for you girls. I don't know that there's anything else I could have done.